Welcome back to Inside the Nest. Been a minute for sure. I haven't spoke to y'all since probably the Sequoia matchup preview for football. Been a minute, definitely for sure. But the 2026 football schedule has released. Today I have my little brother who is a defensive end for Roswell, class of 2029. William, would you like to introduce yourself to the people?
You know, we'll be coming up sophomore this year. Grateful for the work I did last year. You know, we had a great year, and I'm glad to represent the R again.
All right. Starting off the year, as mentioned beforehand in other episodes and podcasts, Roswell will be playing an opening up their season in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Maybe it's the first time I said it on this show, but on some of my other shows I mentioned it before. Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic, which is a normal kick off the year season, get yourself excited for high school football. Roswell will participate in that this year against the Walton Raiders to kick off the season. However, they do start off the season with Cambridge as a scrimmage game to get a little tune-up beforehand. So, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, it's a big stage. What can we expect from this Team 7017?
Well, I think going into the weight room, we work out first and second period every day. Monday legs, Tuesday bench, Wednesday agility, so on and so forth. And, when we go into that weight room, they teach us to be leaders. They teach us to be elite. And I think that's what went on last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, we played those great high-level teams and we won. So you can expect us to go into the bins in a place that, we're super excited and stoked to be, and we will be elite. I promise that.
Okay. Well, it's similar to what you said there. Walton had a similar essence of resilience toward the end of the season, knocking off Valdosta and making a deep playoff push in the 6A playoffs, in which Roswell played at Walton last year, of course, with the Ballanveros Marty game-winning kick. Excuse me. So, with that, now you get back home. You have a 2-week break following that. What usually goes on for football? I know, obviously, you have a bye week, get your body right, get back in the weight room, all those things. But with that, do you think that leading into, I believe the next game is Newton, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah. Next game is at Newton at Ray Madison on August 28th. So, big kind of two-week time off there. What will be the main focus, do you think, going through there from Coach Thompson?
Well, coming in, if we win, I think that it'll be on a high note. We'll go into the bye week on a high note.
For sure.
We'll be ready. We'll come into the practice with high expectations, and we will want to beat Newton. That's the dream. We want to go 10-0, get to the playoffs, go on that deep playoff run, eventually make it to state. And, I think going in with that 2 week off, we just have more time to prepare. I haven't seen any film on Newton. No one really has. The season hasn't really started yet. We're just in that off-season workout area. But, I'm super stoked coming off that Mercedes-Benz. I'm sure everybody will, if and when we win, we should be able to, keep that momentum going in for those 2 weeks against a pretty good opponent, Newton.
Newton, definitely a new opponent for sure, and on Roswell's schedule in over the past few years. Now, after Newton, we move on to a pretty far trek out to Etowah, which is out near Cartersville, ironically, where our grandmother used to live. But following that, you have another game home against Archer. You go to Lanier to kick off region play, and then the following week, we got Gainesville coming to Ray Manis, and obviously that'll be a key emphasis in trying to win the region. Following that, you have a trip to Alpharetta, and then 2-game homestand with Johns Creek and Riverwood, who is new to the region, as well as wrapping up the season November 6th against the Milton Eagles. When you look at the schedule, William, it seems to be decently front-loaded for the most part, but obviously you still have Gainesville and Milton spread out against the back half leading into playoff time.
Yeah, and I'd still even say, every game's a tough opponent. You go in. Sure, Johns Creek might have had 3 points this year, but they got a new coach. We got a
Jim
new
Rowell.
coach. We got a new coach this year, and we went all the way to semifinals. You have no idea what they're going to do this year. So, you say it might be front loaded, but I promise that Roswell, we will go to work to be elite every week, and we will try to dominate the field. Even if it's Alpharetta, Johns Creek, Gainesville. I'm super pumped up about that Gainesville game.
Always a big game.
And especially Milton too. So, it's definitely a well spread out schedule, but every team's a good opponent. You can't say it's front loaded. It's you go in every week preparing the same.
For sure.
You're supposed to be elite. You're supposed to play on that high level, and that's what I want to do as a player, and I'm sure that's what Coach Thompson wants us to do as a team, and all the other players want us to do.
Definitely looking for some improvement out of Johns Creek this upcoming season. Like I said, new coach Jim Rowell. He will take over at the helm for the Gladiators, so definitely look for an improvement in the region as well. Lanier, always pretty solid as well. Same goes for, we all know the Gainesville and Milton battles that Roswell ends up in every year. So, with that, take away from all the game, obviously the Mercedes-Benz game, Corky Kill stays kind of stands out on its own, if you will. And that game will be at 8 p.m. So kind of a late kick. Pretty sure it's on a Thursday as well. So kind of different body clock schedule. And with that, excluding the game against Walton to kick off the year at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which do you say would your eyes draw to on the schedule as, hey, I really want to play in this game? Just like
Milton.
That's kind of
can't.
that's kind of a layup there.
If you come from Roswell,
Same for Milton, I'm pretty sure too.
It's hand in hand, and when we get to that game, it's a mental switch. I think both teams play harder than they've ever played all season, and so going into that game the last week of the season, and then hopefully that will propel us into the playoffs if and when we win. So, all I gotta say is that's probably the game that I'm most excited about. Don't know if I'm gonna play, but I'm definitely hoping to.
For sure.
Because we got some great new players coming in. Evan Thompson, I was glad to train with him, and that was a good time. And the defensive line, we've been growing our chemistry.
For sure.
We should be a great unit this year, and along with every single unit on that field, as I said, we train to be elite. That's our standard. So if we go into that game against Milton and we are elite, that's the best game of the year, and that's the game that stands out.
It's always for sure, even for students as well. It's one of the strongest high school rivalries in the state. In my personal opinion, it's the best one. Now, what do you feel like Team 77 will look to improve on from Team 76? Obviously, Team 76, second semifinal team in the past 4 years for Roswell here. What do you think will be the key emphasis going into off-season, summer workouts, and what y'all will look to improve upon?
Well, I don't know if you watched Team 76, but we
watched Team 76.
We were a great team, and I'm very glad that Coach Thompson was able to get us in the weight room every day, stuff like that, and help us improve generally. So I think there's a lot to improve on as a team
For sure.
but I can't really speak on that because I haven't. I'm going in, as I said, a sophomore, so it's not much to say, but the things to improve upon is we can always get stronger in the weight room. We can always hustle more on the field. We can always work harder to be, who we are, be elite. And Team 77, the things that I think you said, looking forward to going into the season, I'm just looking forward on I'm looking forward on playing our best to get to hopefully state, because the heartbreaking stuff that I see the seniors go through, it's not a fun thing to see, but it's a part of life. You have that last football game, So, I just want to see us, fight for those seniors, fight for the people that had their shots at college, and I want to see us go to state, and I think Coach Thompson can bring us that.
I definitely think so as well. Roswell Team 77 looking to start their year and end the year in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. William, thank you so much. All right, couldn't appreciate William enough for being gracious with his time and joining me today. Now, Roswell has now hired assistant coach, wide receivers coach in Antoine Savage, former BCS national champion with the Oklahoma Sooners in the 2000 BCS national title game over the Florida State Seminoles. I mean, the final score of that game was very low scoring. It was like something like 13-2. But he has college football experience, high-level college football experience with the Oklahoma Sooners as a wide receiver. Now, also has some playing experience with the Arizona Cardinals and was assistant coach for Lee County. So, again, that Lee County tree continues to build here with Coach Thompson. But overall, seems like a really solid hire. Again, when you have that pro-level experience with the Cardinals and then playing in the Arena Football League, which is still a professional league, so it's still... it may not be the CFL or the XFL or the NFL or any of that, but he does have NFL experience, so he knows what that work takes. So overall, it seems like a really, really great hire by the athletic director and Ben Suter and Coach Thompson to continue to build out the staff for Team 77. Well, that was a little side note. Quick little update what's going on. We will have baseball episodes. We will have basketball episodes. Basketball concluded. We'll have a season recap for football and basketball. We'll have it all. It's been a minute. I've been out with doing schoolwork and concussion and catch up, all that sort of stuff. So, with that, Inside the Nest is back. Expect regular once to twice a week weekly episodes back from me, and we'll get y'all all caught up with baseball. We got cross country, we got soccer, we got it all. So, with that said, thank y'all for listening. I know it's been a minute, but we will be back with your regular scheduled content for your Roswell Hornets. I'm John Schneider, signing off for everybody. So long, everybody.